If you're like most Americans, you know the basic rules of football. Touchdowns are worth 6 points, and field goals are worth 3 points. But what would happen if they suddenly changed the rules? What if the value of a field goal suddenly went from 3 points to 5 points? We can make some guesses at a few consequences of such a rule change. For example, game strategy might change. And they're attempting another 60-yard field goal. 4th and goal from the 1-yard line, Don, but they'll take the sure 5. Draft picks and salaries might change. For the first time in NFL history, a kicker was taken in the first round of the draft. But these sorts of rule changes are problematic because there are likely to be major consequences that we simply cannot foresee when we implement them. Changed incentives mean that players and coaches will develop responses that are creative beyond our ability to imagine. The rule change itself, along with the unpredictable nature of these responses, makes it much harder for teams to plan ahead for the long run, and that makes it harder to figure out how to win. Will teams develop new defensive schemes for certain third down plays where a field goal might be an option on 4th down? And if so, what sort of offensive plays and players might you want to draft? The more often rules are changed and the more central those rules are, the worse these problems will become. And when rules get changed once, it creates fear that they will get changed again, and this compounds the feeling of uncertainty that players and coaches have about the value of their skills and their game strategies. In games, we expect the rules to apply equally to all and to be enforced fairly. We also expect that they'll have some permanence to them and not be subject to arbitrary changes. And this isn't just true in sports, like football. It's true anytime people interact. Take the economy. Stable and predictable rules that apply equally to all are key aspects of what we call the rule of law, which is essential to a well-functioning free market. But in many respects, we don't have that kind of free market in the U.S. Corporations lobby for special regulations and exemptions that give them an unfair advantage over their competitors. Lawmakers and bureaucrats create new rules all the time, so it's hard for people to keep up. And once you start changing the rules while the game is being played, you create confusion about what the best strategies are, and you make people less willing to play. The economic effects include making people less likely to make long-term investments, and that will slow economic growth. You also encourage more companies to seek their own favors from lawmakers, looking to acquire wealth just for themselves, instead of by creating value for consumers. This is why changing the rules of the game, whether it's football or the economy, has to be approached with great caution. The results are often unpredictable, and that uncertainty undermines people's ability to plan for the future and to undertake the strategies that will win the game or create the wealth that improves the lives of all of us. To learn more about economics and football, check out my program at Learn Liberty Academy.